Hey, everybody, welcome to the Big Idea. Super excited today. This is hits home for us. This is one of a special woman in this world who my wife has been involved with on her side of the business. And I'll tell you all about that in a second. It's an amazing tease because for 30 years. Today on the show, we've got the founder and CEO of Jazzercise, Judi Sheppard Missett. Not only is she one of the most successful women in the world, she is a fitness expert. She's a guru in this category, over $2 billion in cumulative sales. She's had numerous prestigious awards, including the Presidential Commendation for Top Women Entrepreneurs, four, count them, Hall of Fame inductions for women in business. And for me, an extreme pleasure as an entrepreneur because these are the things we strive for. And this month, with being Women in Business Month for March, this is just amazing for me. And I want to welcome you, Judi. You look amazing as usual. You just had your, 50th anniversary in 2019?
We did. And thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. My goodness, I'm honored. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's worth every word. You know, we talk about those awards that you got, and everybody that walks the earth now knows what Jazzercise is. But what was the most important award that you actually received?
Wow. That's kind of hard to pinpoint. But I mean, when a president of the United States nominates you for anything, as we know, it's pretty exciting. And when I was selected one of the entrepreneurs of the year by President Reagan, I was thrilled, and I will always be thrilled. That's phenomenal. But there's just, there's so many other things that are more important than awards. It's how you conduct your life, how you do your business, how you treat the people that are around you. And speaking of that, those folks are the people that really deserve the awards, because I am so proud and so lucky because I have had phenomenal people around me my whole life who have helped develop the company, the business. And, that's a really special thing. They believe in my passion. They support our purpose, and they do it with grace and humility. And I think, to me, that's the most rewarding thing I can have in my life.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice award. There's no plaque that goes with that. That's just thank you so much, and you're blessed for what you did. And it's, for me, it was incredible as I really dug deeper into the company and who you are, and really the excitement that I had in having you on. Early on as a little girl, I think the story is just as important as a success, because the whole idea of the big idea is that moment. And we'll talk about that moment, that big idea where you said, you know what, I've got something. And you took it from a concept, an idea, you collaborated along the way. But as a little girl, I was fascinated with this, that you were actually born pigeon-toed. With
I was.
Your feet and your ankles turned inward, and your mother went to the doctor. I'm going to let you tell the rest of that part of the story, because to me, that was incredible, because I felt like that was a turning point, maybe from an impressionable standpoint of what you could do. Because what did the doctors say to your mom?
Yeah, well, my feet turned in, and the doctor said, I think if you took her to a dance class, that would really help. And of course, today we know that usually that kind of condition straightens out on its own. But my mother was very supportive, and so she thought, okay, I better do that. In addition to that, I was born in San Diego, and And my dad was in the Navy, and my mom and I were walking down the street in San Diego, and there was a dance studio. And I just wandered in and started dancing with the dance class. And the teacher came over to my mom and said, she really ought to take class because I think she's got some talent.
There was some rhythm there early on, huh?
Yeah. So that, coupled with the doctor's recommendation, when we moved back to Iowa, what was shortly after that, she enrolled me in a dance class, and I just loved it. From the first minute I walked into that class, I loved the music and the energy and the movements. And I just knew from that young age that this was something I was going to have in my life forever and ever. And, it has truly come to pass. And I am so grateful that my mom supported those decisions and followed through on them. And my goodness, she followed through on so many things. She was truly a mentor to me, helped me to get dance classes. And as I improved with my dancing, she drove 50 miles one way to take me to dance classes. And then she got dance teachers to come to our small little town of Red Oak, Iowa, to be able to have instruction for me, but for all the kids in town. And then she served for those dance teachers. She became their class manager or their studio manager. She produced the recitals. She even was a seamstress for a lot of the costumes. And all of those things really served as a role model for me later on when I began to develop the business of Jazzercise.
Well, that was probably very, it's obviously very inspirational as a young little girl to do that and realize the talent and that feeling of knowing, like we all did as a child, whether it was baseball or dancing or whatever that was.
Right.
That's a fulfilling prophecy, basically, because I looked at it and I went, so, it was just really cool how that all happened, and to hear it from you as an inspiration to other people to follow their dreams and their vision. Because I know you went to Northwestern University there, and what did you do at the university? Did you actually physically major in dance?
I did not major in dance. I majored in theater, and I actually had a minor in dance, even though they didn't give minors at that point, but I had enough credits that I could have had. But I majored in radio, TV, communications, because my parents said, well, you better do something to fall back on in case this dance theater thing doesn't work out for you.
I can relate to it.
Yeah. So I did that, and I enjoyed it, and it's actually come in quite handy as my business evolved. But also, while I was at, sorry, go ahead.
You taught classes, right? You taught jazz classes,
yeah.
And you were in the middle of that. That was suburban Chicago, right?
Right. That was the first suburb north of the city of Chicago, Evanston, Illinois. And I became involved in a very prominent professional dance studio in Chicago. Gus Giordano, he really is an icon in the dance world. He has passed away, but he served as another mentor for me. I taught in his studio. I danced with his company. I did a lot of professional shows with him because he was a choreographer, of course, as well. And I got cast in a lot of different professional shows that he was the choreographer for. So we worked together for a long time, and I still have an awesome relationship with his family and the studio that now his daughter runs. So he really gave me a step up, and it was in his studio where I taught my very first class of Jazzercise, although I didn't call it that at the time. But I was teaching dance and in his studio, and I noticed that a lot of women were going through my classes, but they didn't stay. And I thought, oh, what have I done? Am I doing something wrong? What's happening? So I talked to them, and they said, well, Judi, we love your class, but it's a little hard. It's a little disciplined. We don't want to go on and become professional dancers. We just want to look like one. We want to look like you. And I said, oh, okay, that was the big idea. There you go. It really was. And so I asked Gus Giordano if I could have an empty studio to try something out. And he said, well, sure, take the one downstairs and see what you want, whatever you want to do. So I put flyers around the studio, and I think I called it Jazz Dance for Fun and Exercise or something like that, and fitness, you know. And so the first class I had 15 women. Now, what I did differently was I became their mirror. Instead of having mirrors in front of them that were quite intimidating.
Yeah,
You know,
I was literally just going to ask you what you did different, because your retention rate was low. It seems like you recognize that. And then you do something to say, wait a minute, I got something here because I enjoy doing it. But that was so cool. I mean, making you the mirror of the movement, right?
Right. I turned them away from the mirror. I made the movements really fun and easy to follow, based in jazz dance. Tried to use good music, stuff they heard on the radio, things from musical comedy shows and theater. And so the first class I had 15 people. Then I had 30 the next week because everybody brought a friend. And then that friend bought a friend. And so then the third week I had 60 people, and the room wouldn't hold anymore. And I thought, okay, wow, this is fun. It's a good idea. Yeah. And so I just continued to do that until we moved to California. Now,
do you feel when Jazzercise was born at that moment? Because that was probably from 1969 or somewhere around there.
1968, 69 actually. Yes, my daughter was born in 68, so she was a year old, and so that's really the beginning of everything that I did. But you know, when we moved to California is the mecca for health and wellness and body beautiful and all that stuff. And so I started teaching the concept I developed in Chicago, and people just opened their arms to me. They were just so wonderful. And so my classes began to grow. The more I taught, the more people wanted. And, I was really having fun. I was also working in the theater professionally as well. I kind of combined the two things. Okay. And, but as the classes grew, I had less and less time to do the theater, and I needed more time to teach. So I just kept adding classes. And so really, Jazzercise, I say, was an evolution. It grew organically, but every decade brought us something different as we moved along, and so I feel very blessed that I didn't really make a decision for this to happen. It wasn't like I said in my head, okay, I want this to be a big business. It developed. It sort of was a thing of its own. And
your timing on that was pretty incredible too, because there's always a right place and a right time. But that was kind of like the second wave of feminism during that period of time. And you
Right.
really, I felt your timing was really good on that. And
How many of you have actually been thinking about a backyard makeover? Do you wish you had room for a pool? Well, you're going to love this idea, and your family and friends, they're going to love it too. Get a Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas. A Michael Phelps swim spa combines the benefits of a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. It comes in a variety of sizes to complement almost any yard, even if it's a small backyard. Michael Phelps swim spas by Master Spas have a water current so you can swim, do aquatic exercises, and have fun with the kids. This will reinvent family time. The water buoyancy will relieve pressure on aching joints, and you can enjoy pure relaxation in the massage therapy seats of the swim spa. And since it's heated, you can use it year-round in any climate. Michael Phelps swim spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas, the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. You're going to love your Michael Phelps swim spa by Master Spas. Go to masterspas.com, put in the promo code BIGIDEA to save $1,000 on a Michael Phelps swim spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. That's masterspas.com, promo code BIGIDEA.
do you feel it was like you were creating a place for women to gather? Because it was a women's movement that you actually supported, in my opinion,
Yeah.
in this process. And all of a sudden
Right.
they're getting with you, and they've got you as a mirror, their independence, and
Yeah.
it's, to me, that was very interesting to have an understanding of that. And how did you feel about that? Because maybe you felt that going on.
Well, I did. It was a parallel. People came to class to get healthier and to feel better. But then they also saw that I was developing a business and doing it with passion and with purpose. And I think that influenced a lot of women in class to do things for themselves as well. And I really loved that. The thing that was interesting is that while I was doing what I was doing, there really wasn't much of a fitness industry. There just wasn't one. And so I feel so honored to have been a part of that, to have been a pioneer in doing that. And it's a great legacy for me. I'm very humbled by it, but I'm also proud of it. And knowing that when people came to class, they loved the movement, they loved the music, they loved the fact that they started to feel better about themselves. And that was a key, because when those women began to feel better about themselves, they felt healthier, they felt maybe like they looked better, they built their self-esteem, and that gave them the energy and the chance to go out and do other things. I would have women come up to me and say, wow, I just want to tell you, I stopped going to therapy and it's saving me a whole lot of money because this seems like therapy to me. And I'd say, well, I think you're doing that on your own, but thank you for the compliment. Others would say, I finally have the confidence to go back to school and get my degree. Others would say, wow, I finally have the ability to do whatever they wanted to do in their life. I know I have the ability, but now I have the energy to do it. So, there was a lot going on there. In addition,
You were also in the middle of what, in my opinion, because over the years I put, oh my gosh, so many men's fitness products on television, the weights and all the things, the Shape magazine world, all that stuff. And what I also felt, because being a consumer guy on television with products and fitness items, like pretty much once a year, because it was kind of like a new year, new you. But I always looked at Jazzercise, and what you guys were doing is, because that used to be like a macho thing, right? The world of lifting weights and fitness that was a macho thing. One was a woman's thing back then. And I felt like you were also a trendsetter in that world. Did you feel any of that, or am I close to being?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. I mean, there weren't really many people expanding the way we were. There were individuals like Bonnie Pruden. I don't know if you remember her name.
No.
And Lottie Burke is another one. And oh gosh, there was another guy. But they were pretty much limited to their studio, and it was smaller. Where I developed this on an international basis.
Right.
I mean, I say it wasn't just me, it was a lot of people. But so it just kind of grew and grew because, number one, San Diego was a military town. And so I had a lot of military people in my classes. And then when they were reassigned to different areas, they wanted to take Jazzercise with them. And many of them had become an instructor. And so they spread the word that way. I said, well, okay.
Classes, because when you were in San Diego, when you guys first moved down there and you started this initial growth period, is it accurate to say that you were really teaching 35 classes a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's accurate. And therein lies the next story I was going to share with you.
Yeah.
I, after a while, was teaching so many classes because people were just clamoring, and I didn't have the power at that point in time within me to say no, which now I do, which is a good thing. But and so I started teaching so many classes that I lost my voice. And so by the end of the week, I was whispering. And I went to the doctor and a throat specialist. He said, well, you have nodules on your vocal cords from all the teaching and the talking and whatever. So I thought, oh, that's not good. He said, well, we can avoid surgery if you'll go quiet for 5 days, and then you have to get a microphone, or you have to, figure out a way to teach less. So I thought about that.
Our dog is jazzercising right now.
Yeah, I love it. I have 2 jazzer dogs too. So
I know you do.
yeah. So anyway, so I said, okay. So I went quiet for 5 days, didn't teach, wrote notes to my husband and my daughter. And then I went on I went on a excursion, I guess, to find a microphone, because in those days they didn't have headsets and all of that. And this was about 1977 or so. And I went through many microphones, one of which first, just a mic stand. Well, you can't dance and then run over to the mic and yell into it, so that didn't work so well. But then I tried a lavalier, which hung around my neck and was giant and fit right there. And then when I danced, it would bounce. And by the time I was done, I had a big bruise. So that didn't work so well. Finally, I found a little lavalier that I could pin. And that we used, but it had a cord. So when you danced, you had to wheel the cord around. And that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But eventually we figured out how to do that. Whoopsie. We got a light going out here.
You got 4th of July.
Yeah.
Did you realize at the moment what I realized when I had heard that might have been by default the moment of growth for Jazzercise? Because I just wondered if you ever realized what happened, what I saw happen there, where here you are because of your injury, you've got to enlist other people to do this, which almost proved a model that maybe you, because you kind of were dabbling with it a little bit, but all of a sudden you have this platform to grow and possibly, I'm thinking possibly scale this business.
Yeah. It dawned on me later. I knew I couldn't teach all those classes, continue to do that, even with a microphone. So I picked 5 women out and asked them to train with me and become an instructor. And so they were very excited to do that. They took some of the classes I was teaching and we branched out, and it worked. I wasn't sure it would. I'm a performer and an entertainer and have kind of a big ego. And I thought, well, maybe it's just me and other people can't do this, but they could, and they did. And I was really thrilled. I was thrilled by that. And so that's how things began to grow. And the more I taught, the more they taught. Other people came out of the classes who wanted to train. We developed a training workshop so that other people could learn how to teach, and branched out. And then, because of the military in San Diego, a lot of those folks moved on to other cities on a national and international basis. And that's how everything started to grow expansive. And
it's a good moment. We'll take a second right here, just because we're gonna just pause for a moment. We'll just do a commercial insert right here, Judi.
Okay.
And then when we come back in a second, I really want to get this story out about, because this is just a long enough here, about 10 seconds to do that.
Yeah.
So now what I want to talk to you about is a moment in your career and the growth where you had somebody turn you down and you saw the opportunity to grow the business. You went to a bank that had a local banker, and please share that story, because this is motivational. This is a reason why you don't give up and you don't listen to other people that don't believe in the vision and the dream, because you didn't. You could have, but you didn't. And
yeah,
the rest, we don't want to say the rest is history, but I'm going to let you share that, because I just think it is absolutely top shelf.
Okay. Well, we were growing by leaps and bounds. And I think at the time I had about 1,000 instructors around the country.
Wow.
And so the woman who was my COO at the time said, well, let's go and get a line of credit, because we probably are going to be able to use that as we grow. And I said, okay. And so we went to our local bank that we'd been doing business with, and that gentleman, the manager, said, you really need to go to the mothership in Los Angeles, the big branch up there. And so we did. And so I walked in, and we had all the numbers and we had everything laid out. And I said to the gentleman, I said, we're really looking, we really believe this is going to expand and be even bigger than it is. And we just want to have a little reassurance in our back pocket that we have the money that we need to do that. And so he looked everything over and he said, so this is exercise? and he didn't look like he exercised either. And I said, well, yeah. I said, yes, it is. And he goes, and so you teach these classes and some of these other people do. And I said, yeah. And he said, I remember this. He said, well, honey, That was the first mistake on his part.
Ouch.
Yeah. He said, well, honey, this is just a little exercise girl thing. And I just don't see how we can support something like that. He said, I'm really happy you're doing well in San Diego and a few other areas, but it just doesn't seem like something that will really catch on. And I said,
he's basically saying it was a fad.
Yeah, I said, well, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but I do believe you're wrong. And my COO, Margaret, myself, stood up and we left. And, I began to call that the little exercise girls syndrome, because when people would say something like that, it always reminded me of that gentleman. The interesting thing is that we are an international company with over 8,000 franchisees now, and that bank is no longer in existence. So, I had my, I hate to say revenge, but it felt good to know in my heart that I was doing my passion. And the purpose behind the passion was helping other women, not just to get fit, but maybe develop in other ways in their life. And I knew he was wrong. And I thought, okay, I'll show you. And I did. We did. Not
Did you?
just I.
How did your group do it? Did you do it privately yourself, or were you able to, or did you seek outside investors?
To do what?
When you went for that line of credit, you obviously didn't get it. How did you expand the company? Did you do it yourselves, or?
Yeah, we didn't really need a line of credit. I've never had to go to the bank and get a loan ever. And it just seemed like the money was there when we needed it. It was there. And so when it was there, we would take it and we would expand it to another level.
I'm really glad that didn't happen, because I've seen so many stories over the years, and being involved with some pretty big projects where the outside funds are what actually deplete. You get different opinions, you get different motivations, and I'm excited to hear that answer, because for me that's another big moment, big idea that you said, okay, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna pursue it.
Warm water, massaging jets, backyard convenience. The relaxing hot tub experience you've been dreaming of could be just a click away. We're giving away a Master Spa's premium hot tub. Energy efficient, innovative design, and made in the USA. Go to masterspas.com/big idea for a chance to win a Master Spa's hot tub. Again, go to masterspas.com/big idea for your opportunity to live life the better way.
He gave me a book on art forgery. I found myself drawn to these old masters. How did these artists take paint from a palette, arrange it on a canvas? I began to unlock the secrets. I was a storehouse of knowledge of how to create an illusion, present it to a experienced expert, manipulate his mind, and convince him and bring him to the inevitable conclusion that the painting is genuine. We flooded the market with my paintings, and I couldn't believe what I did. I couldn't believe it. Then the dominoes started falling, and eventually the FBI were led to my door. They uncovered a mountain of evidence against me.
But they never actually got you. At this point, you've sold a lot. You've got like $1 million in cash. You sold one painting for $717,000. Why did it go away? Why did you never get indicted? And how are we having this conversation?
I guess that's the greatest story of all.
To hear how Ken Perenni made millions in art forgery, dodged the mafia and the FBI, subscribe to The Jordan Harbinger Show and check out episode 282 in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening now.
So
Yeah.
Jazzercise today, you guys this probably went up since yesterday, right? But, my last time that I checked, it was about, just about a week ago, it was 8,500 people that are actually franchising, 25 countries. And how many classes per week, to put this in perspective, around the United States? Well, let's just say around the world.
Yeah, well, I think domestically it's like 32,000 classes, but that means, a lot of those classes meet more than once a week. That's just the one class that somebody is teaching, but it might meet 3 times a week. So you can kind of multiply and figure it out. So.
Oh, yeah, no, well, I don't have to multiply. I know the math because what you guys do, but I also see it every week in my house. It literally is. And the other thing that I want to kind of delve into right now is, and this is exciting, for you to be able to have something like this that you created, your vision, your execution, and your ability to just absolutely not take no for an answer. I think everybody should just really aspire to be a part of that, male or female. And the other thing too is there are a lot of guys that take Jazzercise.
Yeah, there are not as many as there are females, but yes, there are.
I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that. Well, I do for several years now, but to go to 2 billion in sales like that. But let's talk about your daughter Shauna and her daughters and how they're involved with the business today.
Right.
And they're carrying on Jazzercise as this family-owned operation, which I think is just incredible. And how involved are you today? Because let's kind of focus on them for a moment.
Okay. I have one point I was going to make about that story that I told about the banker. It was maybe a year later that we decided to franchise because I needed to either make instructors employees or franchisees.
Oh, got it.
And I didn't want to make them employees because I wanted them to have a sense of owning their own business. And that was another thing that came into play with Jazzercise, is that we were able to give a lot of women the opportunity to own their own business and to build that business. So we franchised, and very shortly after, there were 2 franchises that were the biggest growth in the 80s. Domino's and Jazzercise. And we're both around today. Yeah, we're both around today. And, in a way, we kind of support one another. People eat pizza, they come to exercise and so forth. So
I love it.
Anyway, yeah. So now, Shanna and Skyla and Sienna. Yes, I'm very fortunate to have a daughter who really believes in my passion and has her own passion about what we do. She's a great business person and very creative. She does choreography, but she also has great vision on expanding the company. Then I was so surprised because a year ago, my granddaughter, Skyla, who was 18 at the time, and that's the age that we allow people to become instructors, came to me and said, guess what I'm going to do, or what I'm doing. She was in the process of doing it. I said, what? She said, I'm going to become an instructor of Jazzercise. And I was like, oh, that's so fabulous, because with Shanna, I never even suggested it to her. I thought, better that if she wants to do it, she'll do it. If she doesn't, I'll support her in whatever she wants to do. But she did. She became an instructor when she was 19 and never looked back. And Skyla became an instructor when she was 18, and she is phenomenal. She is a beautiful dancer, but a great instructor as well. She has the motivation and the movements and just wonderful. Now, my other granddaughter, who is 16, Sienna, she's a little young yet to become an instructor, but she's a beautiful dancer, all involved in dance and competitive dance and that kind of thing. But she's waiting.
I think we know where this is going.
Yeah.
And by the way, pretty awesome names too, if I must say.
Oh, thank you. I didn't pick them, but I love them too.
How involved are you? I have two questions.
Yeah.
Question one, how involved are you today still in the day-to-day? The other thing that intrigues me a lot is how do you guys stay contemporary with the updates in musical styles, dance moves, and anything like that, and developing those routines before they go out to franchisees?
Yeah. Well, first of all, a lot of times people say to me, "Oh, Jazzercise, yeah, are you still around?" Number one, and number two, they say, "Well, is it like it was when you were really, really hot back in the 80s?" And I'll say, "Yes, we're still around." And number two, no, it's not quite like it was in the 80s because we wouldn't be around if it were. We have always changed. We've always been able to change. And that's something that is my philosophy. I believe it's really important to continue to change and develop what you're doing. We've done that with the business, but we've also done it with the program of Jazzercise. And, dance is dance, and there's fundamental movements there. But as time goes on, things develop and change, and we're always like right there on the cutting edge. We're always paying attention to, what's going on and what's hot and incorporating that into what we do. So when I realized that, and as the industry grew, then of course there's more science behind the industry. And whenever there was something that really was important that was a discovery, for example, weight training. Weight training became very important for women to stave off osteoporosis and other things. You burn calories better. That it's just great. And so I incorporated weight training into what I was doing very early on because I knew that was an important part to add into the program. So we've done that all through the years. And now, dance always has been kind of a combination of yoga and Pilates as well. That's always a part of what dance is all about. So we've always had that element, and then we've just expanded it. But then, we do cardio box. We do some routines that do that. And we do a fusion class, which is combining dance with strength training and intervals. We do high intensive interval training. We do core classes, dance sculpt classes. I mean, there is a huge variety.
You're staying very contemporary with it, which is, it just projects to an amazing growth period. And, I just in wrapping up here today, I can't thank you enough. But one of the things I want people to know is in April, Jazzercise is you guys are hosting in-class challenges, and you don't have to be a member to join. There's no strings attached, and you can get it on the phone at jazzercise.com. Don't walk, run to Amazon, everybody. The book on Amazon, Building a Business with Beat, Leadership Lessons from Jazzercise, an empire built on passion, purpose, and heart. And I think that's got to be a great read. It just has to be. And I can't thank you enough for coming on, because as far as I was concerned, my wife was the one that came to me and said, I've got an idea for women in business. And so to me, it was a thrill. And she doesn't know I'm going to do this right now. Marty, come say hi.
Oh, good.
You can say hi to one of your best new friends, Judi Sheppard.
Hello.
Hi, Marty. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to meet
Gosh,
you.
thank you very much for getting your husband involved in this.
Oh, yes. It's definitely worth it.
It's been a passion for
It's been a blessing in my life. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you still take class?
I do. I still
Good.
take class. Try to do 3 times a week.
Oh, awesome. Well, tell everybody I said hi
Yes,
in
I
your
will.
class. Okay.
I will. I sure will. Thank you.
Great.
they're
And
going to share this with them. And
Yeah, I'm gonna share it and post it on the Palm Desert Jazzercise class website. So.
well, maybe I'll be down there and I'll see you.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can share this with your people around. I mean, I think everybody that's in Jazzercise, just like Marty was excited, to be able to know the story behind it, to hear it in your own words is just, amazing. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, thank you. And you asked how involved I am in the business. I am still involved. I mean, I'm right on top of it. I don't necessarily have to do all the day-to-day stuff anymore because I have so many wonderful people, but I'm always right there. And I just want to thank you, Marty. Thank you for the idea. And thank you for mentioning my book, Building a Business with a Beat. I loved writing that book. It took a lot of time and energy and a lot of memories in there. I couldn't believe I couldn't remember everything, but we finally pulled it together. So I'm just thrilled and I am so lucky and humbled to be a part of this business and to have so many good people around me like you, Marty, and customers and employees and my family. In addition to my 2 daughters, I have a niece, 2 nieces who are involved, and that's fantastic when you have family involved, because they always have your back, right?
They do. That's right.
That's awesome. We'll say hi.